Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce you to the one, the only, Ray Liotta.
What's up? It's really hot here.
It's a little warm, but as we were talking about, the barbecue makes it worth it. So, Mr. Liotta, I wanted to start all the way back at the beginning and just kind of get a general assessment of you. Like, when did you first decide you wanted to be an actor, and when you started thinking about acting, was TV in the picture?
I never thought about being an actor. I was a jock in high school. Our senior year, we were able. Just a little bit of a story. So, my senior year, I took there was a drama class that we could take, and we took it. Me and my best friend Gene, and we just figured we'd fool around and just it wasn't very demanding, so we liked that. It wasn't. We were okay students, but like I say, mostly all we did is play sports. This was in high school, and then I had a fight with the basketball coach, and the drama teacher asked me if I wanted to be in the play. I gotta do something after school, so I was so used to like doing things after school. All right, yeah, I'll try it. So I went and did the play, and I hated it. It was Sunday in New York. I don't even have memories of it. All I remember is the director, for some reason, put me all over school in a little towel, bare-chested, with just a towel wrapped around me. And I said, oh, God, what did I do? So it came time to go to college. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I walked out of my SATs because I said, I did this. I had no idea. I'm not proud of this, but I said, maybe I'll just work construction the rest of my life. Or my dad had a chain of automotive stores, and I didn't realize he was angling for me to maybe take over that. So anyhow, I'm in line. I'm just going to take liberal. Oh, I got into the University of Miami. This was 1973, and at that time, all you needed was a pulse to get in there. So because I didn't, so I got in. I was going to take liberal arts just because I had no idea what I wanted to take. So I walk in, boom, in the front of the line, and they tell me I have to take some math and history. I said, fuck, no way. There's no, I don't, well, no. And I looked up, and right next to it, it was for the drama major, if you wanted to major in drama. So I took a step over, because I had the easy class in high school, and I said, all right, I'll just do this and just have fun for a year. Because that class was fun. There was a girl in line, typical actor story, and she asked if I was going to audition for the play that night. And I said, no. And she berated me. She just went, oh, you got to do the play. It's all about doing the plays. Theater's everything, blah, blah. So just to annoy her, I asked, well, are you going to be there? I just told you, everything is about the play. So I went and auditioned, and real the first thing you had to do is you had to tell a sad story. And I was on the phone with Bobby Zimbardo. We had this dog that was just hyper and just a pain in the butt. I opened usually we had to walk him out to the woods. I just walked him out, figured he would just go and come back. Well, I'm on the phone, and a few minutes later, I hear a screech and yelping. The dog got hit by a car. Sad story. So so then I said they wanted me to go to the next move, that do sing and dance, because it was a musical. And I'm a jock from New Jersey, and the girl that challenged me, Valerie, I don't know how to. I lived 40 minutes out of Manhattan, in New Jersey, and I remember my parents taking me to see the play Pippin. And I remember this one song. So I told her about the song. She went, she got it, she found the sheet music. I sang with it to the album, and all right, so I take the sheet music now, and I go in and I give it to the piano player, and then I take it back. He says, what are you doing?" He was very like, just picture Elton John. So he just said, "No, what are you kidding me? I don't know this music." He says, "Well, I don't know the words. I know you have to have it memorized." So he said, "Just do the best you can." Well, all I could remember was the refrain. "We got magic to do just for you. We got magic to do. We got magic to do. We got magic to do." And they're saying, "Wait, but you got to dance. You're supposed to be dancing as you're singing." And all I could think of, I'm 63, so there used to be a group called Freddie and the Dreamers. And they had a dance where they said, you do the Freddie. We got magic to do. We got magic to do. And so I got in the play, and I was a dancing waiter in cabaret. So, but what really got me into acting, to answer your question, there was this teacher named Buckets, and he wore these dark glasses, and he in class it was like being a coach, because I was a jock. He would be, "All right, yeah, no, get your lines, commit over here, go." He's very strong about the way to do things, and because I had never acted, thank God that this was my first teacher, because I didn't have any bad habits to break, because it was very Stanislavski, and it was him that I really responded to, and he responded to me because I was just a guy from New Jersey, not somebody who was doing theater since they were in kindergarten. And so I went a second year. And then I found out when they know you're coming back, they pick the plays based on the people coming back, and I got everything. I got every lead, and from doing Streetcar to Dames at Sea to Taming of the Shrew. We did a little bit of everything, and you get something nice reviews. You feel good about yourself, and you think, well, maybe I could do this. And then I started getting serious about it. And like I said, it was in '73. And the only movies I used to go to as a kid was either a Clint Eastwood movie or the Beatles movies. I remember, like, as a fourth or fifth grader in line, "Oh my God, you can watch the Beatles movie." And so I started watching movies, and from the '70s, they were all just unbelievably great movies, what they got to do. And where am I now? I think that's pretty it.
Well, that's when you started taking it seriously.
Oh, and so then I did. I started taking it seriously, and I stayed for the 4 years. I graduated. Third day in New York, I got a commercial. Within a week, I had a manager. Next, I had an agent. And if there's any actors here, I could tell you that story, because it's really about, they say, like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. It's so true. And within 6 months, I got a soap opera. And I didn't want to do a soap opera because I was watching all the 70s movies, and all these people that I idolized, which I happened to end up working with Gene Hackman, Robert Duvall, Danny DeVito.
It's worth
Although
idolizing.
nothing
Yeah.
against him, it's just I didn't have any things with the Penguin. And so anyhow, I started working with a lot of those people that I idolized.
Well, I mean, you mentioned a little bit about it, but going back to that first gig on a soap opera, this is television. You took the job. You were on there. I mean, what did you take away from that? Like, as an actor, once you got into it and did it, was there anything that stuck with you?
It was the best. I'm proud to admit, a lot of actors don't, about being on a soap. I was on it for 3.5 years. I was Joey Perini, where I played the nicest guy in the world. I really got so much that I gave a St. Christopher's medal to my fiance. I asked her to get married. She died. So I go up to where I proposed to her. I slip, hit my head, end up in a hospital. It's just a soap opera. I end up in the hospital, and this nurse is taking care of me. She's taking care of me. She's taking care of me, and I start falling for the nurse. Well, within like a few months of being with the nurse, she tells me that she's like from a family of the richest woman in America. I said, "What'd you say?" She said, I'm the richest family in America," and it incensed me that she lied, and we went and I got an annulment because she lied. And then I came to my senses and got her back, and we went off to Switzerland skiing, and that's how they ended my 3.5 years.
Well, it's a happy ending for a happy character. That's good. That's something. It's a happy ending for a happy character.
Yeah,
so
but the great thing is the producer that we had, Paul Rausch, he would go to Broadway shows, see an actor, knew that certain parts were coming up, went backstage and said, "Look, would you like to be on a soap opera?" And I said, "What?" And he says, "Wait a second, I'll give you whatever it was, 1,000 a show or whatever these guys were making. And I'll guarantee that you get out whatever time you want in time to do your play, to get ready for the plays." And so they did. And I was lucky enough I don't know if people know her, but by far, one of the top people I've ever worked with, this woman, Kathleen Widows, she played my mother. And she was really loosey-goosey about doing it. And then, we would be on stage, backstage talking. Or we had to do our scene, and we'd come out, and it would just be just so real. She made it so real, and all the actors were like that. If there was I was at the toy store and I got a scene with somebody and there was a ball, so I just took the ball and threw it to him. And then all of a sudden we're having a catch. This wasn't supposed to, and it was really loose, and it really enabled me to feel very, very comfortable in front of a camera. And they got like 3 cameras going, so it was a great, great training ground.
Well, I mean, to go along with that, your next TV role is one that I couldn't find a lot of information on online. I couldn't find a lot of clips, but I just want to know what your experience on the Casablanca adaptation was like. Because they made, it was 1983. They made the obviously classic film Casablanca into a TV show, short-lived. But I mean, you were on it. You were part of that.
Now you know why you didn't find a lot of information. You just said it all.
What was that like, kind of being approached with that idea of that classic film when you are, looking into getting into big films and taking it seriously, and they're asking to make this for TV?
The best thing about it and what intrigued me was, one, that they offered it to me, and two, that it was being produced by David Wolper. And he was one of the biggest producers. He's the one who did Roots. He's the one who did shows like big miniseries type things. So it was a very, very weighty producer. We were shooting it in the same in the same stage with the same furniture as literally what they used in the movie. Not that that was an incentive to do it. It was just I'm just adding a fun fact. But I was Sasha the bartender, and they would, and I never said a word. And David Soul, if you remember him from Starsky and Hutch, he was Rick. And the great thing about it, and I can't say I became friends, but we did a little. It was Scatman Crothers played Sam. And I don't know if Scatman was, he was just great. He was just a great guy and kind of a legend. Even though a lot of people don't know him, he was great to work with. So, but Casablanca for TV with David Soul. Whoa, it got canceled? No.
It's a fun fact in and of itself that it existed. But I mean, from there, you really started to get some really great roles in films, and I mean, we don't need to list them, but they were incredible pieces, and you did incredible work within them. And at the time, television was far from the respected medium that it is today. When you're in Goodfellas, when you're going to the Golden Globes for Something Wild, did you think you'd go back to TV at some point? Like, were you thinking about television at all, or was it just I've got a film career now, I've moved on from that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I was in movies, and when I started, if you were doing a television show or commercials or something, it was pretty much you were at the end of the line. That was the only thing that was the films were drying up, and these people started going in. So got someone like Carl Malden, an unbelievable actor in On the Waterfront, Streetcar, and he's doing Streets of San Francisco. So, but it was towards the end of his career. So, as I'm learning, as they get older and older, the less they want to travel. And the television show, you're basically in one place. But it was like your career was over. So no, at that time, especially with doing Goodfellas and Field of Dreams, the last thing I thought about, and I became like what happens now, the flavor of the month there. I was getting offers for everything. My problem was I thought it was all about acting and not branding. And now what these actors are doing it's smart, but they're branding themselves. I waited a year. I did this movie Something Wild where I was a nut job, and I just waited because I didn't want to get typecast, and I waited a year, and I did this beautiful story called Dominic and Eugene, and then Field of Dreams, and then Goodfellas. After Goodfellas, I did this movie Article 99 where I was a heart surgeon. That's what I thought it was about, playing different parts, and the movies, like Article 99 was a really good movie. Orion all of a sudden goes bankrupt, so they can't even get the movie out because they have no money. So the court says, "All right, well, release the movie, and maybe you could get money." How are you going to get money if people don't know what the story is? There's no advertising, so I just had bad luck, but there were like unlawful entry I got to do. I got to, as stupid as the title is, Operation Dumbo Drop. It was, people really laugh at that. As a matter of fact, I swear to God, I was in Las Vegas, and I went backstage to see Cher, to say hello to her because I knew her. And Don Rickles had opened for her, and never met him in my life. I walk in, he says, "A Dumbo Drop, good move." I swear to God. And I said, "Thanks, Don."
You don't need much more of an endorsement than that. I think.
Yeah, really. But it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
It was just the title was, and it was a true story. It's a village in Vietnam. They lost their elephant. The elephant meant a lot to the village. Whether I don't know if it was a good luck thing or whatever. So these guys, and I was a Green Beret, the guy I played. They had to take the elephant from wherever and on a boat and going all through Vietnam, get this elephant to the village that where their elephant was killed by our forces, and so it was fun. It was a true story. It was just a horrible title, but I did like a lot of different parts because that's what I thought it was. And then the movies didn't make money, and I just hit that period of just not getting things, and the things that were coming in were, I mean, thank God. You could say what you want. There's this guy, Avi Lerner, who owned this place, Millennium, and he would do movies. He never even read the script. He just said the concept. He said he just did it by where you were in your career and what you were worth overseas. And so for a while there I was, and so I got jobs and did that. But most of the jobs you had to shoot in Bulgaria.
Not exactly ideal.
A beautiful. I mean, it just was 10 years out of communism, and they were really trying to get it together. How the buildings were all, the paint was all chipping, the grass that was in the common areas in the street that was all grown. It was just really. They had trouble. They had, it was taking them time to get into more of a away from the communism head and into a freedom head. And then I went back a few years later, and they oh, the buildings, look how nice this is. They fixed it up. They got it. They started getting,
Well, I mean, kind of steering like in the same vein, but I mean, in '98, you were approached by, or the Rat Pack came out on HBO, and this is a big deal movie. It won Emmys, and it got good reviews, and people really respected it. But this was still '98. It was when HBO was just kind of getting started with premium shows like The Sopranos and Sex and the City. And an HBO film wasn't quite the same thing as it is today, and TV still wasn't the same thing it was today. Were you wary of doing an HBO movie, like of doing a TV movie at that time, or was that more just, it's a good project, I get to play Frank Sinatra? Like, what kind of went into that decision for you?
No, I was afraid to play. I was scared shitless to play Frank Sinatra. I said, "What?" No, I was approached by his daughters to do the mini series, and I just said, "No, I just couldn't." It just scared me, the judgment that would come at me, and I'm not a singer and a dancer, even though I did cabaret. But they kept coming after me, and it wasn't about HBO. That HBO was still considered, what they say, it's not TV, it's HBO. And I'm thinking like, no way, no way, no way. And then I'm saying, wait a second, why aren't I? What's really the reason why I don't want to do this? And the biggest thing, what I remember learning from the acting teacher, which I'd like to get into, because for 12 years, even when I would do the first 5 or 6, 7 movies I did. As soon as the movie was over, I was back to acting class. Get a movie, then back to class. But I said, well, it's fear of what people are going to say, and that's one of the apocalypses that you're saying other people's words, you're doing it on cue, you're doing it in front of people, and that really. The only thing I had in common with Frank Sinatra is we're both from New Jersey and we both say fuck. That was it. But I don't know. I just decided, wait a second, this is going to be a great challenge to do. Just do it. Just do it. Quit being afraid. Who cares what anybody says? And so I did it, and I just became obsessed with Sinatra, reading his books. There's so many books about it. I would talk to people that knew him. I would go to their offices and get information. I went down to his compound in Palm Springs and got into that and walked around just to get a flavor of who he was. And then we did, we're practicing singing, and then what we were doing, it's crazy. I did lip sync. Well, we all did. I would lip sync to a Frank Sinatra impersonator, because he just sounded like it, because it was just way too much money to get his recordings and us sing to him doing it. But then once I did it, it was just so liberating to be up on stage and singing and moving, and just it was just, I just started feeling really good about it. And it was after that that things started kicking in again for me, where it wasn't, that down thing started rising. But yeah, oh shoot, I knew that was going to happen. Sorry.
It's okay. This happens here.
I forgot to turn it off. Now, if I was on a set, I would motherfuck the person to death.
I'm not going to take on that responsibility.
Sorry for my French. I'm from Jersey's. I would, though. I would go nuts on the person.
If they've seen your movies and your shows, I think they're okay with the language, so we'll be okay. But
That's right. If they're here, then they're not afraid of blood.
Yeah, your voice made it onto the soundtrack. You're credited for 2 of those songs on the Rat Pack. Did you sing? Like, did any of that come through? Like, did you know that was going to be in the show? Like, part of it?
Was what?
Like your
Singing?
voice, like your singing was actually in there.
I read the script. It said it in the script. What I was supposed to do. So I like I said, I just went for it. And this guy, I don't know what his name is. It's something Glover. He was this tap dancer, very, very famous, great tap dancer. He was our, yeah, thank you. Great tap dancer, unbelievable. He was our choreographer. So even though he just did this, we were still had choreography. Because there's scenes where we're singing for when Kennedy was it was a capsulized version of his helping Kennedy, and then being told that he can't come to the compound or be a part of anything in Kennedy's world. And here he was asked by the father, like, can you help us to, I don't know, maybe it was a help for an introduction to one of the bad guys, because as the story goes, he got Kennedy, they went to mob guys for help, and they used, well, that's a whole other thing.
It's part of the movie, yeah. It's
so, but yeah, I loved it. I just let it go. I just had fun. And that's really what it's about. And I'm really glad I did it, because I just, as an actor, and I still am in that mentality. As far as I'm concerned, I still haven't made it. I haven't done everything. I'd like to do a movie where I don't have to choke the girl to kiss her.
A very reasonable request.
Huh?
A very reasonable request. Very reasonable.
Yeah. You see, I'm funny. But I'm not what I played. Most people have this image of that, which is fine. And I still think that if you were to name, let's just say Al Pacino, you're gonna think of The Godfather or what is it, Afternoon, where he robs
Dog Day Afternoon.
Dog Day Afternoon, right? You're not going to think of Arthur, or some of the other things that he did. It's usually the bad guy. Same thing with De Niro. He played, Awakenings and the nice, beautiful, things. But you think of him with the edgy stuff. It's just this edgy stuff just stands out in people's minds, because anything that stays with you, it's because it impacted you. And that's the whole thing about acting. What you want to do is you want to impact the person, so they're just watching for however long and just absorbed in watching it without any distractions.
Well, to kind of go along with the idea of that image of what kind of people think of you, I noticed that you've played yourself in multiple TV shows. I think it started with Just Shoot Me, when you had 2 episodes as Ray Liotta, but you were also on Modern Family as Ray Liotta.
And what was the other one?
Modern Family? Was that you?
Yeah.
And then I think just recently, Great News, the NBC sitcom that Tina Fey produced, Great News, you were also on there.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I also was myself in the B Movie.
You were? Yeah, you were. All right, well, there's a nice expanded universe now. There's a Ray Liotta television cinematic universe we can pull together. But like, when you're approached for those roles, what does that mean to you? What is what's the intrigue of playing yourself? What do you get out of that as an
I
experience?
like to look at it that it means that people know me. Like there's a whole thing like or you get the people you can walk down the street and people come up and say anything and people ask, does it bother you? And sometimes it's like it could be annoying, but that means they're watching. So, but to answer your question, what did it mean? I just went with it. What was the first one I did? That was me.
Just Shoot Me, I think.
Oh yeah. It's Just Shoot Me in one of the episodes. I'm playing myself, and I forgot the actress's name who I'm going out with, and she comes over my house for Christmas, and she comes in, and I decorated that. There's the everything with Christmas, the trees, the stockings, everything was beautiful to the point at the end, two little elves jumped up from behind the chair, and there was the two little people, and that as Santa's helpers, and that's that's how much I was into Christmas.
And just like the real Ray Liotta, I'm sure. You decorate your house similarly.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's notable that they're all comedies, at least. Like, it gets you an opportunity to kind of play up that comedic side, which you just mentioned, it's exciting to get out there because you are very good at comedies. It's exciting to see you in those projects.
Yeah, I just like doing them. I just think it's so much fun to play pretend for a living. I would just like to do more of it, but the whole landscape of movies has just changed from when I started. There's a few, like, just look at the end of the year. They have the 10 movies for Academy Awards. I mean, can you believe some of them that were up there? I mean, seriously, that's for Best Picture? No freaking. But because they stopped making the kind of movies that they did in the 70s, and now it's the tentpole stuff. So I think I'm just going to start taking steroids and maybe get a job as no.
Well, I think we're very happy to have you on television because, I feel like there are so many ample opportunities there. A lot of people do talk about how maybe not the exact vibe of the 70s, but that kind of creative resurgence has happened during the golden age of TV where you're given the opportunity to play some of those gritty, dark roles. And honestly, I mean, it's just one episode, but obviously it made a mark. Your role in ER, where you got to play Charlie Metcalf as this man who comes into the emergency room and he's very sick and he knows he's sick, he knows he has problems, but he's told that day he's going to die. Like, it's a very intense episode that also kind of plays with alternate reality and dreamscapes and kind of these visions. I'm very curious about how that process went down for you. Did they send you the script and the part and say, this is what we want you to do? And then you just responded to that to go and do it? And then also, I mean, it was still TV in 2004. It was still NBC. Was that at all a stopping point for you?
No, because once, you're still doing it in front of a camera, and it might be a TV show, but the job of an actor is to fulfill the story and that's being told. So in this one, I was an extreme alcoholic to the point where I was going to die. And I remember that I start out where I'm nodding out, and then I fall, and I just missed a table, but it was really good for the show, and luckily they got the shot. And calling my kids who I abandoned and letting them know that I'm so sorry what I did, and starting to get emotional, and they don't want to talk to me. It was really, Chris Chulak directed it, and not that anybody would know, but it was a really moving, great episode. It really was. So I deserve the Emmy on that.
Oh, no. I am also curious, though, like, just in regards to the Emmy, I mean, I feel like with movies, it's very clear that the Oscars are the ultimate goal. The Oscar is the thing that is really kind of the standard and what people are shooting for in a lot of ways. And with TV, you know, it's kind of split. There's Golden Globes that mean a great deal to a lot of people. There's the Emmys, which you know, have a lot more industry and insiders voting on them, and usually gets kind of a heavier play these days. But at the time, what did an Emmy mean to you in your career? Like at that moment in 2004 for that role, what was it like to win an Emmy? I mean, what was that experience for you?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I did a movie, which was the oddest movie ever, with that Guy Ritchie directed with Jason Statham. What was it?
Was that Revolver?
Yeah, Revolver was so odd. I have no idea what it was about. I really don't. I would ask him to explain it, and I was, huh? So I went to the premiere for that, even though, you know, because I didn't think I was going to win, and I thought it was more important for my career at the time to go there. So I wasn't there, but you know, when I got it's you know, I don't know. You don't pat yourself on the back. You're happy that people noticed, and I really took that part really serious, and it really made an impact on me. And as a matter of fact, I've had people come up to me to thank me for that episode because it helped their father or loved one to stop drinking, because they saw what eventually could happen, because this really was a stage of a major alcoholic at the end of his life, and it impacted on people, and that's a nice feeling when somebody does that, when they come up and they were impacted that way.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people here are very aware of what you're doing now, Shades of Blue on NBC. It's to me, I feel like it's one of those rare dramas that's on broadcast that doesn't feel like a broadcast drama. It feels very gritty and authentic. And you know, first and foremost, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, but I am curious, just what was kind of the motivating factor for taking on this script? Like, I mean, it's a series regular role. It's a very, you know, kind of conflicted character who's pulled in a lot of bad directions and then also, you know, pushed to do some of the good things. But what was it at that point where you were like, I'm ready to do a series regular role on television in 2016, 2015?
Because the guy was bisexual. And that, you know, that's a very different kind of thing to do for television. And I'm, you know, I'm not on that team, but it was fun to, you know, there was that, and I got it, and the biggest thing was that Barry Levinson was going to direct it. So like, Barry Levinson, I talk about 70s, and so it was that the biggest factor. To be really honest, was I just was a little nervous about doing it with Jennifer Lopez. You don't actually think of, you know. Luckily, Jenny from the Block came out, and she's actually really good in it, and it was just so you just roll the dice and say, you know, there were so many things in there that I couldn't, like you say, that the head of NBC used to be the head of Showtime. So he had that kind of mentality of doing things that would go to the edge, and I'm truly gonna miss doing it, because it was a great character, and I really think, is there any big NBC people here? I really think that, yeah, Jennifer was great, but you could have, you know, go get you know, Edie Falco, and we're off and running again. You know, it was that well constructed, and you never really knew what was going to happen. I love doing it. I'm hungry to do another 13 episode type thing.
Well, I mean, you so season 3 is going to be the final season. I'm not sure. I think that's definitely been announced, but you're done shooting now, right? You've wrapped on season 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so what can you tell us about what's coming? And right after this, guys, we're going to get to the audience questions. So if you're ready, start thinking about them. But I mean, I know season 2 ended
Well, now
on a
they're
big
not going to listen to my
but-
answer. They're
No,
going to
they're
be too
gonna
busy.
listen. This is the big question. People are dying to know
They're
what's
going to be
next on
thinking
Shades of
about,
Blue.
well, now what should I say? Oh, gosh, I'm so nervous to talk in front of people. No, I'm not going to do it. No, I am going to do it. I am going to do it. What'd you say?
I don't know if it matters anymore. No, just what can you tell us about season 3 without, obviously
I
spoiling?
don't know. I
Tell us
don't remember it. It was we shot it so long ago. I know that Harley, Jennifer's character, starts going through a change and feels very, very guilty about the life that she's been living, being in my crew and doing the types of things. Have people here seen the show? Okay, so wasn't very loud.
They're just shy. They're
That's
thinking
all
of
right.
questions.
That's all right. There's other choices out there. So she starts changing, and I like the way things are, and I consider her my daughter because my daughter killed herself, and I feel guilty about that. I think it's my fault, and that's why I'm so paternal with my crew, with it's like my family, and she came around at she needed my help at the same time around when my daughter killed herself. And this year I have a couple of flashbacks of thinking of my daughter because there's a scene where I go into a gay bar and pick somebody up, but I start abusing him to the point verbally, and to the point of that a bunch of people come out, a bunch of guys brings out other guys, and they beat the crap out of me. But that's what I'm there for. I hide my gun and just there because of all the guilt and everything that I've been feeling. And during it, I see my daughter, and what was great about it is my daughter, my real daughter, Carson, she got to play the part because she wants to be an actress. And she was great. She was really, really good. But what it did, there was two scenes, and I can almost get emotional now, where she said something like, why are you like you are? And it hit me so hard that I literally couldn't stop crying. They yelled, they just let the camera roll, and I wish they would at least, TV, everything's got to be fast, but it was so deep. I was making noises. I don't know if anybody's been in an emotional crisis where you're crying so much that there's sounds that emit from yourself that you've never made before. It was just really, really moving. It was great. It was a great, great, great experience. I love doing the show. I'm really going to miss the character, and I think Jennifer's fucked up for not wanting to do it.
All right. Well, I'm sure everybody here.
No.
has some-
The only reason because she wants to, because the dance show was 2 hours. So how could you not? That's, and the series is a lot of work. It's really hard.
Yeah. No. And I mean, especially these days, people have to take it seriously. It's a big commitment. It's both a time commitment and, like you talk about, like they make it very quickly. But the drama there is intense. So you've got to be ready at the drop of a
And
dime.
we're shooting 2 shows at a time.
Right.
Because they want to save money, because maybe there's something that happens, and can we help you, ladies? You're thinking of your question, aren't you? Should I ask him this, or should I? No, don't ask him that. That's too personal.
Too personal.
Anyhow, it was a great show, and I know this season is going to be great. It just starts ratcheting up. We're starting after 2 seasons, and anybody who's seen it, it gets intense at times, and this is the same thing. So she wants justice, but she wants to do it the proper way, And I'm saying it's much faster to do it the bad way, my way to doing it. And she said, I really need to get this guy, so I help her get it, but I do it the way that you're not supposed to, but we got him. And it's just that pull and that confrontation that we have, and feeling that she's going to leave me, and it just emotionally just crushes me that this girl who's my daughter, that I feel like is a daughter to me, wants to move, rejects me, and it just makes things even it more intense. Where when if something bad, I'm in a bad situation, and I got that stuff boiling in me, you better not do something bad. And if someone does something bad, they really feel my justice, because of everything that I got going on in my head.
Well, to help out one of our ATX sponsors, Shades of Blue is available on Hulu right now to stream, and it starts season 3 starts, I think, the 17th, I think June 17th, so catch up. And if you guys have questions for Mr. Liotta, please step up to the mic, form a nice, polite line, and we're going to get to as many of them as we can. Yeah, straight
Hi,
back.
Ray. Thanks for
Hi.
being here. Field of Dreams is one of my family's all-time favorites. I
Oh,
think it's
thanks.
timeless in a lot of ways.
Thank you.
What persuaded you to take the part? What do you remember about the experience?
I never saw the movie. I've never seen it.
Wow.
Only because it's more of a sad story that my mom was really sick. It was during Goodfellas that they invited us to go to a screening, and she just couldn't make it through the movie. But the making of it was my third movie, and it was great. It was fun, and all I did was baseball in the batting cage, The thing that really upset me is, and I'm admitting it, but I know I could have done it. Shoeless Joe batted left-handed, threw right-handed. I bat right-handed and throw left-handed. I was training with the USC baseball team, and the coach, Rod Dato, has won more national championships than anybody else in any other sport. And they kept saying, I don't think they understood that, first of all, if you watch old-time baseball players, they're much more stilted and not as smooth as today's. So they said, well, you know what, let them go, then we'll just switch it. And at that time, I didn't have any power or juice or the balls to challenge them, and it's always bothered me. But I just figured, well, there's no way that he comes down as a ghost. Maybe he wanted to be a right-handed guy.
Thank you.
How good the movie was, but Sheila Joe didn't bat that way. He batted as a shut up.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Hi. You talked about the roles that you picked and chose as you were coming up in your career. Was there ever a role that you told your agent, hey, I want this, I really want this, go fight for it? Something that you wanted, or maybe something that you were going for and didn't get?
The only one, you know what's really going to be easier? If you take the mic out of the stand, because most people are not going to want to get up and get in line, and they probably, it's much easier if you do it in, wouldn't it be, instead of getting up and feeling, oh my God, everybody's looking at me, I got to walk down there, if you just pass it around, seriously.
There's a lot of pressure.
Anyhow.
The opportunity to do that.
What did you ask me again?
Was there ever a role that you wanted?
Oh. I heard about Something Wild in my acting class because I studied for when I left the soap opera and came to California, I found an acting teacher and I who I think is the best ever, Harry George, and I studied with him twice a week, 6 hours a night, and I just loved it and the way his approach to everything. So they mentioned. Have you gone out? Have you heard about this movie, Something Wild? Did you go up for it? You're right, really right for it. And I said, no, I haven't. And then I asked my agent, and they said, well, no, we can, they're really down. They stopped accepting people coming in. So I was really, really down. I was 30 years old and hadn't done a movie yet. And that's kind of old for, to most of these guys, they start at 19, 20, 21, 22. So I remember coming home for Christmas and I was really down because I'm saying, oh my God, and I was almost down. I saved all my money from the soap. Thank God my dad was good with money, so I was able to live for 5 years, in a struggling actor's box. It was disgusting. This brown carpet and stains on the curtain. It was a real acting, struggling actor's box. And I went home, and my parents were heavily involved in politics. And they said, and I knew that Melanie Griffith was already cast in it. And same thing with Jeff Daniels. So they said, why don't you just call Melanie and ask her to get you in? And for some reason, I just felt that, no, that's not the way you do it. You don't do it that way. And I'm thinking, and I'm down, and my parents are saying, there's what's the big deal? You just call her. Now, I knew Melanie because she was at that time married to Stephen Bauer, who I went to college with for 4 years. We did Mice and Men. He was I forgot the characters, Lenny, and he was the George. Lenny's the brain damage one, right? Yeah. I was good in it, even though I don't remember that. So finally, you know what? I called her. I said, Melanie, can you, really nervous, can you get me in to meet Jonathan? And she said, like I wish I could do her voice. It's so high. And she said, yeah, of course I can. I'll make him a call. Because she was telling me that she had a promise. She made Jonathan promise that she would have some say into who would play her husband because she did a movie with this guy that she just didn't like and they didn't get along and it really bothered her and affected her performance. So she said, you got to get a husband though. I have to be okay with it. So she called Jonathan. Jonathan said, oh, Melanie, no, I can't. I got it down. This has been such a hard process. I've seen everybody out here. I've narrowed it down to 3 people. I just really can't do it. And she just came in with, you promised that I could say something. I think she just did it just because she wanted her promise, not that she believed in me that much. But so he finally said, oh, okay. So this is where luck meets, luck is preparation, luck meeting opportunity. Thank you. So the first day, it's on a Monday, I go in and I think he was there and I talked. You just have a talk with them. So I just had a talk with them, and I had read the script and would go over it, and I said, okay, I'm not getting turned down by the casting agents. If anything doesn't happen, at least I'm turned down by the director. Tuesday, I get a call. Jonathan wants you to come in. He's got an actress that's going to come in and read the part with you, and this is the scene. I said, oh, wow, great. If I'm going to be turned down now, at least he's going to see me working. And I had already done lots of homework on it. And I leave, and I feel like I did a really good job, and I'm very satisfied. And he says, well, he doesn't want me, then he just doesn't want me. Because after a while, after you realize it's not personal, it's even though you take it that way. Thursday, I get a call. Come in, and Jonathan wants you to read with Jeff Daniels. I said, well, wow, this is great. So I can't sleep. I was watching Johnny Carson, and all of a sudden, Jeff Daniels comes on. And he comes and he's talking about Woody, because he just did Purple Rose of Cairo with Woody Allen. He's talking about Jack, because he just did a movie with Jack Nicholson. And I say, oh my God, I got to read with this guy tomorrow. I'm doing push-ups. I get up, push-ups, looking at, I'm sure I didn't sleep a wink. And so finally the day comes, and it was the scene that, anyhow, it's a scene in a motel room where I confront him for the first time. And I had done my homework. I was doing my homework, and I just went in there. I just ratcheted it up and just was there, and I did it. And I said, well, now if he turns me down, at least he saw what I could do with an actor who, Jeff Daniels is one of the best actors I've ever worked with, and he's continuing to be. He's just a great actor. And I get a call Super Bowl Sunday. Jonathan wants to see you before he leaves for New York. So I go to this place, Hugo's on Santa Monica Boulevard. I talk with him. He leaves. This is still about the question, anything that I wanted, and this is one that I wanted. He says, as you know, I've been down to 3 people. Next week, I'm going to make a decision. So to me, Monday's in the middle. He said in the middle of the week. So this thing, I'm going to kill it. And then he finally he called. All of a sudden, it's Thursday. That's not the middle of the week. And he said, Ray, I would love for you to play Ray, because that was the character's name. And I hung up the phone, and I just broke. It was all the tension, all the years. I cried like a baby, because it was just so much pressure, and I wanted it so badly, just to be in a movie. And it just so happened it was a really good script. He said, the only thing I want you to do is lose weight. And to look, and I did, and I went to a park where a lot of people played basketball, and it was fenced in. I just pretended I was in prison, and I would run around. I would run around. Actors are crazy. That's nothing compared. You should see some of the things with the homework I did. God, if we had another hour, boy, do I got stories. And then I got it, and that's the one. But after that, it was probably Goodfellas, because I had heard about that, and just to work with them, and I found out that I was the first person that Marty saw, because anyhow. So that happened. That's an interesting story too. But
Hi. Yeah, please.
So I'd like to know, what do you watch on TV these days? And do you think that we are living in a new golden era of TV?
I watch Family Guy. That's true. We watch it, me and my daughter, nonstop at dinner. And before I go to sleep, it relaxes me, because usually I'd seen the episode, especially when they do the beginning ones, it gets boring, so it puts me out. But what I really like watching are shows about real life. There's like on the Animal Planet, that's our National Geographic. There's just great stories, and people hunting for the boar on this island with bows and arrows, and any, like 2020, 48 Hours, any of that's the stuff that I really like to watch.
Well, I think we've got time for one more if we've got any brave souls. Otherwise, we can. We do have a portable mic, and we've got some people in the back. Great.
See, I told you.
You were right.
Hi. Fantastic. So listen, Dominic and Eugene is one of my all-time, I would say, top 3 favorite movies.
Smart.
And I would love to hear you talk a little bit about that. I thought it was just beautiful, your performance.
God, you're smart.
Thank you very much, sir. Smart is opportunity plus glasses.
All right, I'll meet the glasses. You don't scare me. I did something wild, and that was with Orion. I was waiting to do something that was not, I don't know if anybody saw Something Wild, but I was like a wound up. It was a great debut character, and the way they shot it, and the first time that people saw me. And I read Dominic and Eugene, and I really, really loved it. It's about two fraternal twins who I'm studying to be a doctor. I've got accepted for a residency in Stanford, and my brother is brain damaged, and he was played by Tom Hulce, who was great. He was so good in that. I think he did much better than Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, because it came out the same year. So that's my thing for Tom. But they thought I was the guy from Something Wild. So luckily my agent just said, no, just sit down and meet with him. He's not like that. He's not like a maniac, but I'm going to kill this thing now.
He's really hovering on you.
It's been around, hasn't it?
He wants you, yeah.
What do you think it is? I don't know.
Maybe the Starbucks.
The coffee? Like, what does he want? It's like me in the Beam movie. So I went and met with I forgot the guy's name. He was in MASH. Mike. Yeah. And his partner was married to Bonnie Franklin. That's all I remember. I forgot his name. And I went and met with them and just talked and said how much I loved the script, and they said great. And then they called me back and they wanted to see me with Tom. So Tom was there, and he was already in character. He really was. He was literally. This is a month or two before we started. And I sit down next to him, and I said, "Oh my God, does he smell? He didn't shower. He didn't. He was really. I hope that was for the part. Now that I think about it, but we sat and and I just talked and looked at, hey, how you doing? And joked around a little with him, because that was what my character was, and the reason why he is brain damaged is because our father was abusive and used to beat us, and he got a beating that he fell down the stairs, hit his head, and he became brain damaged. So he was very slow, as you would. He was lucky that he lived, and I felt so guilty that I couldn't help him. I'm his fraternity, my twin brother, and that's what happened. It's just a really, really, really beautiful movie. It really is. Thank you, Smarty.
Well, thanks everybody for coming out today. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the festival. Please thank you, Mr. Liotta. Again, Shades of Blue, Season 3 in June.